Every time we hear from Sadiq Khan, he seems to be moaning about something. Last week, he said Londoners were anxious about the outcome of the US election. In August, he said he felt unsafe as a Muslim in Britain after the riots. And before that, he was having a row with Lee Anderson about racism. So what does it say about the man's ability as Mayor of London when the only headlines he gets is when he's playing the victim? Well, he's made another triumphant return today with comments about incoming US President Donald Trump.
If I wasn't this colour skin, if I wasn't a practicing Muslim, he wouldn't have come for me. He wasn't coming for me because I'm 5'6", right? He's come for me because of, let's be frank, my ethnicity and my religion's fact that I was speaking out against somebody whose policies were sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, racist, wasn't because, I wanted to come to his attention, but because I have a responsibility to speak out if I think something's affecting not just Londoners, but affecting all of us.
Yeah, OK, let's get real here. If Donald Trump had a problem with Sadiq Khan's skin colour, he wouldn't have just hired Vivek Ramaswamy to head up the new US Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk. He wouldn't have just made J.D. Vance, married to a Hindu woman, his vice president. And he certainly wouldn't have enjoyed a mammoth 14 percentage point surge in Latino voters at the last election. Sadiq Khan also reckons Trump is homophobic. OK, so why did Trump in 2020 make National Intelligence Director Richard Grenell the first openly gay holder of a cabinet-level position in the history of the United States? And why is Grenell now being tipped for another job in Trump's 2024 cabinet? Maybe, just maybe, the cries of racism and homophobia are an easy excuse for Sadiq Khan. Maybe Trump doesn't like Sadiq Khan because he's a totally failed mayor of London. Maybe he didn't appreciate Sadiq Khan allowing a juvenile Trump blimp to be hoisted above London during his special state visit to see the Queen. And maybe, just maybe, Sadiq Khan should take heed of Trump's critique about him from 2019.
Well, I think he's been a not very good mayor, from what I understand. He's done a poor job. Crime is up, a lot of problems. And I don't think he should be criticizing a representative of the United States that can do so much good for the United Kingdom. We talked about it before. He should be positive, not negative. He's a negative force, not a positive force. And if you look at what he said, he hurts the people of this great country. And I think he should actually focus on his job. It'd be a lot better if he did that. He could straighten out some of the problems that he has and probably some of the problems that he's caused.
Let's get the thoughts now of my panel. Former Tory advisor Laura McKevat, Conservative peer Lord Bailey and former Labour advisor Matthew Larzer. Welcome back to you three. Give me 10 seconds to jog across the studio. There we go. Always useful having long legs. Sean Bailey, does Donald Trump care more about Britain than Sadiq Khan?
Listen, when you see Sadiq talk like he's a politician and he's really playing cynical politics, he will know there's a certain type of Labour supporter who this will be red meat to them and he'll love it, and they'll confirm, it will confirm in their head how Sadiq is on their side. But I think there's a bigger thing here. London is a world city. We need to have some kind of relationship with Donald Trump. He can change policy that will be instrumental in the success of London. I think Sadiq should take that into account. But more importantly, he's putting other people in a place of fear. If he's the mayor of London and people are listening to him as he believes in his head, he needs to be careful about making those communities fearful of this particular man. And one of the real weaknesses in left-wing political discourse, I think, is the demonisation of particular characters, Donald Trump being one of them. And as you said in your piece just there, if Donald Trump is such a racist, such a sexist, how did so many diverse Americans vote for him? And I think Sadiq needs to take that into account when he's making people fear this man.
Lauren, is Sadiq Khan perhaps the most divisive politician we've ever had in this country? Because all he seems to do, as far as I'm concerned, all he seems to do is play the victim. He causes division, he complains, he says he's a victim, that people are being homophobic, they're being racist. I never hear anything positive from him.
Well, you could also say that Nigel Farage meets many of those same descriptors. You could argue that he sows division in certain areas. You could argue that he's been quite a negative force in British politics. I don't personally make that argument, but one could make the same argument. So I'm not sure that Sadiq Khan is the most divisive politician is correct. But I certainly think that he's paying a lot of attention to Donald Trump instead of running London. London is being run incredibly badly by Sadiq Khan. We've had Labour MPs over the course of the last week being warned by their whips about crime being so bad in SW1 that they are under threat of having their phones lifted as soon as they leave Parliament. This is despite being guarded by some of the most heavily armed policemen in the British forces. There's a lot of crime in London. There's a lot of transportation problems in London. Sadiq should probably refocus on some of those areas.
Matthew Larser, is Sadiq Khan's ego so big that he just can't help himself? Surely you need to keep your mouth shut for just a little while in the interests of your city or your country, surely.
Well, discretion is the better part of valour. One of the things that I'm loving at the moment is everybody is rising to condemn Donald Trump, who doesn't have responsibility for foreign affairs. So Andy Burnham has popped up to criticise him. You know, we'll be seeing Little Tiddling Parish Council passing a motion next week condemning the re-election. And, you know, Donald Trump, I wouldn't have voted for him. I'd have campaigned firmly against him if I'd been an American, but he has been elected fair and square.
Can I ask why you would have campaigned against
him? Well, because my politics are on the other side of the aisle, and I think some of these appointments that, like Matt Gaetz, show that, and Kennedy Jr. show why there were concerns. But I'm going to agree with both Donald Trump and Sadiq Khan. I think it is arguable that Donald Trump, I don't know whether he is a racist or has said racist things. I probably would have phrased it more like the latter. But I also agree with Donald Trump in 2019 when he says that Sadiq Khan should concentrate on running London. Andy Burnham should concentrate on running Manchester, and any council that's thinking of passing a motion should not.
But that shows you what it really is. As a smokescreen, it's to deflect, it's to cause division elsewhere. Look over there, don't look at me. Sadiq has very big questions to ask. Crime is approaching record levels. The Metropolitan Police are in special measures. The Fire Brigade have just come out of special measures, all on his watch. We had the 2 record years for youth homicide in London under his watch. So when Donald Trump says Sadiq should concentrate on London, Sadiq should remember Londoners feel that Donald Trump is right on that. It feels significantly different to live in London than it did 5-10 years ago.
Matthew, I'll come to you in a second, though. Is London really badly run under Sadiq Khan?
I mean,
is it a hellhole?
No, I don't think it's a hellhole. Far from it. I think that just as Donald Trump won an election fair and square, Sadiq Khan has won re-election with a larger.
What about London?
Larger majority. Look, I think that Sadiq does need to focus on. I think that all Londoners think that crime is an issue. I think all Londoners think that the number of young people being killed on the streets of London is an absolute tragedy. And I would urge Sadiq to focus on that more than criticising Donald Trump. Now is not the moment.
Do you think he's a bad mayor, Matthew?
No, I think he's a good mayor, and I voted for him.
Did you say 21 today?
We've had 21 as of today.
As of today.
Look, the real thing about Sadiq Khan, if you're going to be mayor of London, you need to be a bit more diplomatic. It's not inconceivable that Sadiq Khan could end up in front of Donald Trump asking for something on London's behalf. How would that go?
London is a global city, after all. And one of the things that most presidents in the United States have wanted over the course of the last 40 years is for the foreign exchange business to return from London and Paris and go back to New York, where it left after Carter was president. And that's been a huge focus of multiple presidencies ever since. Donald Trump is someone who could create the economic circumstances in the United States to bring that business home for the first time in 40 years. London needs to pay attention because New York is coming for its lunch money.
Well, talking of New York, I was there for the election for a couple of days last week, and I went in 2017 and I thought, what a dump. It was so dirty. I hated the place. I swore I wouldn't go back. I went back because I was hunting for Tim Walz, Kamala Harris fans during the election, which I could have some fun with. But I went back and I was pleasantly surprised. They'd really pulled their socks up. It was clean. I felt safe. I thought it was beautiful.
Hasn't their mayor just been indicted?
Yeah.
Yes.
But you could say the exact opposite of London. For instance, if you look at our nighttime economy, cities like Manchester and Liverpool are approaching us or overtaking us. And why that's incredible, London is a multiple times bigger than both of those cities.
But we had the night czar.
Yeah.
How could we fail? We had the night
Don't get me
czar.
started on Amy LeMay. But that shows you, and ultimately people will tell you Amy LeMay failed, but the failure sits with Sadiq. He needs to do something about that. It's affecting people's ability to function in London.
I mean, I don't understand how he's... who votes for him? I just don't know about you, Sean. I've never met a Sadiq Khan voter in London.
Apart from me.
I don't... You voted for him?
I voted for him.
Oh, there you go. Well, there's always one. But
we did not put forward a strong candidate against him this time. I don't believe that we can say that Susan Hall was going to be a strong candidate against him.
Sean ran him a lot closer.
He did.
You did? What was the difference?
4 points in the end.
Is that the biggest since, say, Boris?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
is. Do you would you like to be Mayor of London now? Would you run again?
There's other things I'd like to do. Just now,
I just eat your own eyeball.
Well, there you go. That's above it. Look, I sit in the House of Lords.
Could you beat Sadiq?
I think Sadiq is imminently beatable. Absolutely.
I think it's time. I don't think he can stand again. I mean, there is an issue that you can't go on forever.
Legally, he can.
Yeah, legally he can. So absolutely, legally he can. I think. I think one of the criticisms of Sadiq, as well as his grandstanding, is because he wants an international job. He wants a big UN job in the environment, and he wants countries that don't like Donald Trump will need to vote for him to get that.
I thought this grandstanding today about Trump again, out of the blue, completely out of the blue, was more to the fact that he's probably eyeing a massive globalist job somewhere at the UN or something like that after he finishes as Mayor of London. And I guess he's just trying to keep himself relevant.
Not that many people like us internationally, let's be honest. Whenever we try and put someone up for these, we never really have any...
But the point is, by making himself a feature, any sensible country will think, well, we're going to need to get something out of America.
We're going to need a better diplomat.
Yeah, we can't pick someone, A, who's not diplomatic, and B, America hates.
No.
That's a very poor piece of politics.
And remember, it's not just Trump you're taking on, it's all the people who voted for Trump. So when he's speaking to senior Wall Street executives about bringing jobs to London from international companies, international financial institutions, quite a lot of them would have voted for Trump. There was talk today, one of them was going to go into his cabinet. And of course, there's the Musk issue. We may not like Elon, but, you know, Berlin isn't going to criticise him when he built the big factory just outside it.
And look, the bottom line is it's disrespectful to American voters. It's disrespectful to their entire system. He won the election fair and square. Even Kamala will tell you that. And look at the way that Joe Biden's dealt with it. He's been very grown up in his handover.
Well, he looked absolutely thrilled, Joe Biden, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
In the Oval Office.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't really done facial expressions particularly well over the course of the last 18 months, so it's sort of hard to tell.
I'm not sure if you've seen, probably not, there's some memes doing the rounds online where... do you remember that incident where Joe Biden was walking off from a press pack and he turns around and gives a wry smile? So somebody's drawn up a meme about Donald Trump's being inaugurated, and it fixed to Joe Biden where he turns around and gives a little wink and a...
Oh, and the music comes on, and then produced by Michael Bay comes on at the end, and I saw that.
It's like a movie.